In this video, I'm going to do a step-by-step tutorial on how to trade futures on Weex. If you're still relatively new to the platform and you need to learn about some of the basic functions, like how to deposit assets or buy and sell in the spot market, I did make a separate tutorial for that, which I'll be leaving a link for that in the description down below for anyone that might find that helpful. In this video, I'm focusing on futures. I'm going to show you how to internally transfer your assets into your futures account. Then we're going to head into the futures market. I'll get you familiar with the user interface, show you all the different pairings and asset classes, and then I'll demonstrate some trades using market orders, limit orders, and how to set up a take profit and stop loss as well. I'll also be explaining the different margin modes, how to adjust your leverage, the funding rate, and where to find your trading fees. All of that and more with some tips and tricks along the way. If you need to create an account on Weex, I left you a verified link in the description of this video and in the pinned comment down below. If you create an account using that link, you're going to be saving 15% on all your trading fees for the lifetime of your account. You'll also be eligible for the current deposit bonuses, whatever that might be by the time you're watching this video, and you'll be supporting my channel at no extra cost to you. This video is not financial advice and is for educational purposes only. Always do your own research before using an exchange, including Weex. I also left you timestamps in the description down below, so at any point, feel free to skip to a section that might be most relevant to you. Don't forget to leave me a like, hit subscribe for future content, and let's get into the video. If you click on my link in the description of this video or in the pinned comment down below, you'll be redirected to this page here or some variation of it. You can proceed to create an account by simply using an email or a phone number. Just choose an option that makes the most sense to you. Now over here on the left hand side, you'll be able to see if there's a promotion currently running, and at the time of making this video, you can see that you can unlock up to $10,000 plus in rewards. But also keep in mind, in addition to whatever promotion you might be viewing here, you'll also be saving 15% on all your trading fees for the lifetime of your account, regardless of how much you deposit and regardless of how much you trade with. And that's exclusive to anybody that uses my link when creating their account. So when you're ready, put in your email or phone number into this box right here and then click on sign up. And once you've signed up and signed into the exchange, you can find the bonuses if you just come right up here, top of the screen where it says promotions, hover your mouse over top of that. Then over here on the left hand side, you'll see where it says welcome gift. Give that a click. And that'll bring you to this page right here where you can see some different bonuses that you can unlock on the platform. And you can just scroll down and you can see what might be available to you. Yours might look a little bit different than mine does, but you'll see there's some futures master bonuses right here. Basically, the more you deposit, the more you trade with, the more in bonuses you can receive. You can use these bonuses to place additional trades and the profits are yours to keep. So basically, if you're going to be doing any of this stuff on the platform anyways, just make sure to come in here and claim some of these bonuses. At the time of recording this video, KYC was not necessary to create an account and use this platform. But that could change in the future, so I'm going to quickly show you where to go to get verified just in case it became necessary by the time you're seeing this video. So to get this done, we're going to come right up here, top right hand side of the screen, hover over your profile icon, and in this drop down menu, we'll click right here on verification. That'll bring you over to this page right here where you can begin the process of verifying your identity. So this is the KYC process, also known as Know Your Customer. It's a pretty self-explanatory process. Go through it step by step. But during this process, you will have to submit a government-issued document, such as a driver's license or a passport. But as I mentioned at the time of recording this video, this process is not necessary. But if something's changed and you need to get KYC done, now's a good time to pause this video. Click right here to get the process started, and I'll see you on the next step of this tutorial. Now, very quickly, if you need to buy some stable coins like Tether or USDC using fiat, you can find some options to do so right up here, top left hand side of the screen where it says buy crypto, and you can click right here on quick buy. That brings you over to this page here where you can buy some USDT with USD or other fiat options as well. You can start out by just clicking right here. Select the fiat currency that you wish to spend in this drop-down menu here, or search for it in the search bar up above. I'll just leave that set to USD. Then down here, you can see I'm already set to Tether, but if you're not, you can give this a click, and you can select Tether here, or you can select a different asset in this drop-down menu. Simply type in this box here how much you wish to spend on the asset, and right here, you'll see approximately how much Tether you'll be receiving for your spend. Right down here, you'll see the payment methods that are available to you. Perhaps you have more payment methods that are available than I do. It just depends on where you're located because different countries and regions around the world simply have different regulations. So for me, I can use Alchemy Pay, but perhaps there's more options available to you. Now keep in mind that these are third-party service providers, so you'll have to create an account with them and likely go through KYC with that third-party service provider as well. If this is convenient for you, you can just click here on Buy USDT once you have your order set up, and then you'll be redirected to the third-party service provider. Follow their steps, step by step, to complete your purchase. Now, if you already have some Tether in a self-custody hot wallet or on another exchange, and you just simply want to deposit it over to Weex, you'll find a deposit option right here, top right-hand side of the screen. Just give this button a click here where it says Deposit. Then select On-Chain Deposit. That'll bring you to this page here where you'll find a standard crypto deposit form. Now, I cover this in more detail in my Weex step-by-step beginner tutorial, so I'm going to leave a link in the description down below for anyone that might find that helpful. In that video, I go through a couple demonstrations on how to get this done. My intention with this tutorial is to focus on futures trading. So be sure to watch that video in the description down below if you'd like to see a couple demonstrations on how to get this done. This right here is our assets overview page. To get on this page, you simply come up here, top right hand side of the screen to your wallet icon, and you can just simply click on your balance up at the top here, and alternatively, you can click right here where it says assets. Either one of those will bring you here to your assets overview page, where you'll be able to see all your different assets that you hold on account, and you'll be able to see all your internal accounts inside of Weex down below here. You have a spot account, futures account, copy account, funding account, and earn account. If you want to trade futures on Weex, you'll have to transfer your Tether into your futures account right here. So if you just made a deposit and your assets are in a different account, you need to be sure to transfer them over to futures in order to trade all the Tether pairings on the futures market. You'll notice that there is a transfer button right here, top right hand side. And alternatively, you can come up here to your wallet icon and you'll find a transfer button right here in this drop down menu. Give either one of those a click. And this will bring you to a form where you can internally transfer your assets between your accounts. There's no fees to get this done. It's simply an internal transfer. So in my case, I have some Tether inside my spot account and I need to transfer it to my futures account so that I can trade the Tether pairings on the futures market. So I can see this first box right here is already configured correctly. This is the account that my Tether is currently in. If it wasn't already set to spot account, I'd give that a click and I would select spot account in this drop down menu. Next, we need to click right here and select futures account. Now I've configured this form to transfer from my spot account and into my futures account. You'll be able to see your available balance right here. So you can transfer a custom amount if you wish. You could do something like this. Or if you want to transfer all of it, just click right here on all, then click on OK. If we come over here on the left-hand side and we click where it says Overview, then we can come right down here, click where it says Futures Account. And now you can see my Tether is inside my futures account. So now I'm ready to trade the Tether pairings on the futures market. To get inside the futures market and see all the different assets and asset classes that are available to trade on this platform, we can just come right up here to where it says Futures. And you'll get a drop-down menu here where you can explore the USDT M futures. So these are all the pairings that are quoted in Tether, meaning that all profits and losses will be settled in Tether. If you want to see some of the TradFi pairings, just move your mouse down right here. You'll see that there's some TradFi options here as well. Once again, these are quoted in Tether, so all profits and losses trading TradFi will be settled in Tether, and that's why we transferred Tether into our futures account. You can select a pairing from here, or you can search for one in the search bar, or if you want to, you can just click right here where it says USDT M futures, and that'll take you into the futures market user interface. And you'll notice if we come up here, top left-hand side of the chart to our pairings, and hover your mouse over top of that, so in my case where it says BTC, USDT, you'll get this drop-down menu, and once again, you'll be able to see all the different pairings, as well as asset classes that are available to trade here. You can see I'm currently set to USDT-M, so if I use the wheel of my mouse, I can explore all the different Tether pairings down below here. If there's a specific sector you want to trade, you'll be able to see all your sectors right along here. If you click this little triangle, you can see that there's even more that are hiding here. And if you want to explore some TradFi, you can give this a click. And of course, you can see your TradFi down below. Commodities, metals, pre-IPO, and stocks. If you want to add any of these to a favorites list, all you need to do is highlight the star next to the pairing you wish to add. So let's go ahead and add SpaceX here. Let's go ahead and do Tesla like this. Let's go ahead and click here on USDTM. Let's add some Bitcoin. We'll add some Ethereum, some Solana, and we'll head back over here. We'll click on TradFi. Let's do some heavy metal. Let's do some gold, and we'll do some silver right here. Sweet. Now, when we come up here and click on favorites, you'll notice I've built myself a little favorite section. So we can see some of my crypto pairings here. If I click on TradFi, you can see some of my TradFi pairings here as well. If you want to remove any of these, just unhighlight the star next to the pairing you want to get rid of. So if we wanted to get rid of SpaceX, we would just uncheck that star. Let's get rid of silver. And as you can see, I just removed them from my favorites list. So as easy as that. Again, you just click on the pairing that you wish to trade. Alternatively, you can always search for a pairing in the search bar up above. So if I wanted to trade Tesla, I'd start typing in the ticker symbol for Tesla, and I can see it come up right down below here. If I give that a click, you can see top left-hand side of the chart, I've now switched the pairing to Tesla versus Tether. So now I'm ready to go long or short on Tesla. If I want to get back to Bitcoin, we'll hover over top of that. I can see it right here, but again, you can always search for it, right? We can go BTC, ticker symbol for Bitcoin. There it is right there. I'll click on it, and we're back to Bitcoin. So now I'm ready to go long or short on Bitcoin. So that's how you can toggle between pairings, locate the different asset classes, as well as the different sectors that are available to trade here on Weex. Now, if you've seen any of my tutorials in the past, you're likely already familiar with the user interface. But if this is your first time seeing this, all good. This is a beginner tutorial, so I'm going to take a minute here and break this down for you. We'll start right here with the price action chart. So the price action chart is showing us the asset's performance over a selected time frame. You'll be able to find your time frames up here, top left-hand side of the chart. As you can see, this one's currently set to a 1 minute time frame. So each one of these bars down below represents 1 minute of time. If you want to change this from a degenerate time frame to a more reasonable time frame, you can always do that by clicking on a different time frame up here. So if I wanted a 4-hour chart, we'd give this a click. And now we're viewing the 4-hour time frame. Now each one of these bars down below represents 4 hours of time. If we want a daily time frame, we'll just click here on 1 day. And you guessed it. Now each one of these bars down below represents a day of time. If you want to find additional time frames, just click on this tiny little triangle here. You'll get a drop down. Here's where you'll find some different time frames that you can view. Now this chart is powered by TradingView, so this means you're going to have access to some drawing tools as well as some basic indicators. If you want to make sure that you are looking at the TradingView chart, just come up here, top right hand side, and you'll notice I'm already set to TradingView, but if you're not, just give that a click. Now over here on the left hand side of the chart is where you're going to find your drawing tools. And you'll notice beside each one of these drawing tools, there's a tiny little triangle. Give that a click. It expands into a drop-down menu where you're going to find additional drawing tools. If you want to add one of these to the chart, just give it a left click. Let's do a horizontal line. We'll come over here to the chart. I'll left click again, maybe on this pivot right here. Now, as you can see, I just marked some support with a horizontal line down below there. If I want to get rid of it, we'll left click on it again. We'll come up here, click on this trash icon, and see you later. There goes that horizontal line. So certainly take some time, play around with the drawing tools, get to know which each one of them does. Now, if you'd like to add an indicator to the chart, just come right up here to the indicators tab. It's this tiny little guy right here. Give that a click. You'll get a pop-up window here. And here's where you can find some basic indicators from TradingView. You can scroll through them with the wheel of your mouse. But if there's something specific that you're looking for, just search for it in the search bar. Let's do a relative strength index. We'll go RSI. I can see the relative strength index right here. Let's give that a left click, close this out. And as you can see, I just added the RSI to the bottom of the chart. If I want to get rid of that, I can come over here to this little trash icon inside this pane, give it a click, and see you later, alligator. There goes the RSI. So as simple as that. You'll also notice right here, there's this little invisible line. If you grab onto it, hold down left click, you can actually toggle this. I can squish the volume down, giving me a better view of the chart here, but certainly adjust this to your preference. When you're done, let go of left click, and there you have it. You'll notice this little tab floating around on the chart here as well. This can be used to instantly open market orders. Like you can click here, open long, open short. Personally, I like to just stick to the order panel. I've got no use for this. So I'm just going to go ahead and close mine out by clicking on this X. And it's one less thing cluttering my chart. But if you like that little tab, certainly leave it on your chart. Now you'll notice that this is currently set to bars as default. If you'd like a more traditional candlestick chart, you can just come right up here to this little icon. You can see it's set to bars. We'll give that a left click and you'll find candles up at the top here. Let's go ahead and just do candles here. Now, as you can see, this is now set to a traditional candlestick chart. And to the right of your price action chart is where you're going to find the order book. And that's showing you where market participants have placed limit orders to open short positions here in red, or open long positions down here in green, or their take profits on their currently open positions. And again, they're doing this by using limit orders, which I'll be demonstrating in this tutorial. On the top side of the order book in red, these are the price points that market participants have placed their limit orders to go short, or their take profits on their long orders. Down here in green, these are the price points that market participants have placed their orders to open a long position or their take profit on their short position. This price right in the middle of the order book here is called the mid price. How original. That is the price point that the underlying asset is currently trading at. So all these price points up above are going to be greater than the mid price, and all these price points down below will be less than the mid price. When a trader comes along and executes a market order, they're matched up with the best available price off the order book, and the trade is executed immediately. And I'll be demonstrating market orders in this tutorial as well. If you'd like to see trades being executed in real time, you can come up here next to order book, click right here where it says market trades. And here's where you'll see trades happening in real time. All the buys are coming in green and all the sells are coming in red. In the price column, we can see the price point that the trade was successfully executed at. In the amount column, we can see the size of the trade that went through. And here in the time column, we can see the time that trade was successfully executed at. When you're ready to get back to your order book, just click on order book. And to the right of your order book is where you'll find your order panel, where you can use limit orders, market orders, and there's some trigger order options here as well. And I'll demonstrate some of these in this tutorial. Just up above the order panel is where you're going to find your margin mode, more on that shortly. And right next to that is where you're going to find the amount of leverage that you're using to trade with, more on that shortly as well. Right up above your order panel, you're going to find your margin mode as well as your leverage. If we click here on margin mode, you'll get this pop-up window right here where you can choose different margin mode options. So for example, if I was to click here on cross, this means that Weex will be using my entire futures account balance as collateral across all of my open positions. So whatever tether that I transfer into my futures account will be used as collateral against all my open positions. So if you get liquidated using cross margin mode, you're going to lose all the collateral inside your futures account. You can always use proper risk management, such as a stop loss, proper position sizing, and the proper amount of leverage to avoid liquidation altogether. More on that shortly. If I was to click here on isolated margin mode, this means that every position is independent from the other. So in isolated margin mode, only the collateral that you put into a position is used as collateral. So if one of your positions gets liquidated, you only lose the collateral that you put into that position, not your entire account balance, because each position becomes independent from the other. So simply choose a margin mode that makes the most sense for you. Being that this is a beginner tutorial, I'm going to be leaving this set to isolated margin mode. Now you'll notice down here that you have a combined option as well as a separated option. And you'll find a brief in a nutshell description of these down below here as well. So in separated margin mode, orders made in the same direction, long or short, and under the same trading pair can open multiple positions. New orders will not be combined with the existing position. This could be useful if you'd like to hold a long-term leverage position on a particular asset, but still be able to trade the short-term price action of that same asset without having to close your long-term position. So it gives you the ability to separate your long-term leverage positions from your short-term leverage positions on the same asset. But you'll notice if we click here on combine, in this mode, same side orders for a trading pair are merged into one position. Each pair can have one long and one short. Leverage is shared across combined positions while margin is calculated per position. So if you were to open a long position on Bitcoin set to combine, you'd be able to add to that position, not open another Bitcoin position. You'd have to trade a different asset. So separated means you can have multiple positions open on the same asset, and combined means is that it'll all be combined and consolidated into one position. So what I'm going to do is click here on apply to all trading pairs, and once you choose the margin mode that makes the most sense for you, just click here on OK. Operation successful. Then you can double check, make sure it's set the way you want it. So you come up here, top right hand side, and as you can see, I'm set to isolated combined. Now, if you want to change the amount of leverage that you're using, we'll just click right here. You'll get a pop-up window where you can adjust your long leverage up here, and you can adjust your short leverage down below here. So in my case, you can see I'm set to 2x leverage on long positions. Long positions are betting on the price to go up. And I have this set for 2x leverage on short positions. Short positions are betting on the price to go down. So because I'm using isolated margin mode, this means that I can put on position sizes 2 times greater than the collateral needed to open that position. If I was to change these to 5x leverage like this, using isolated margin mode, this means I can put on position sizes 5 times greater than the collateral needed to open that position. If I was using cross margin, what this would mean is I can put on position sizing 5 times greater than my futures account balance, whether that's on one position or spread across 5 positions. If I was using cross margin and I switch this to say 3x for long, 3x for short, what this would mean is I can put on position sizing 3 times greater than my futures account balance, whether that's on one position, spread across 5 positions, or 10 positions. Remember, on cross margin, your entire futures account balance is used as collateral across all of your open positions. But on isolated margin mode, only what you put into a position is used as collateral because all the positions are independent from one another. So yes, leverage can certainly maximize your gains because technically it gives you the ability to trade with money that you don't actually have. But it's far more important to understand that leverage also maximizes losses and can get you completely liquidated. The more leverage that you use, the faster it is to get liquidated. It can happen faster than a fart in a hurricane. So always keep that in mind when choosing how much leverage you wish to trade with. Weex does not let you go into debt, and that's why you get liquidated when using leverage. Again, you can always avoid liquidation by using proper risk management, proper position sizing, proper amount of leverage, and of course, a stop loss. More on that soon. So let's go ahead and just leave this set to 3x leverage. I'm going to go ahead and click here on OK. Operation successful. So now when we come back up here to the order panel and look just up above, you can see that I've changed the leverage to 3x leverage for long positions in green and 3x leverage on short positions here in red. All right. Let's get into the funner stuff now. First, I'll demonstrate a market order. These order types are nice and simple. They're going to execute immediately at the best available price off the order book, whether you're opening a long position, betting on the price to go up, or opening a short position, betting on the price to go down. So the first thing we want to do is come up to our pairings, of course, top left-hand side of the screen, and choose the asset that you wish to either open a long or a short position on. I'm perfectly fine demonstrating with Bitcoin, so I'm going to be leaving that as it is, but certainly choose an asset that interests you. After we've done that, we're going to come over here to the order panel, and we're going to make sure we're set to open up at the top here. And if you're not already set to market, give market a click. Now all we need to do is choose the size of the position we wish to open. We can do that in this amount box right here, or you can use this slider bar down below. So if I was to slide this up to say 51%, that would put 51% of my available balance, which I can see right here, into this position. If I slid this up to say 100% like this, that's going to put 100% of my available balance into this trade. So alternatively, we can always just type something into this box right here. Now you'll notice that my box is currently quoted in BTC, which is the underlying asset that I selected to trade. But you can actually change that. So if we give this a click, you'll get a pop-up window here, and we can toggle this between the underlying asset, tether, or lots. Usually I'll work with tether, so I'm going to give that a click. But choose your preference and then click on OK. Now when we come back over here to the amount box, we can see it's now quoted in tether. So now I can just type in a tether amount like this if I wish. Now before I place this trade, you'll notice that right here, it's giving me an estimated liquidation price for long positions, which would be down at 43,331. And it's giving me an estimated liquidation price for a short position. So you can always reference these really quick to see where your liquidation level is going to be at. More on that in just a second here. So now that I have this order set up the way that I want it, I'm going to come down here and click on Open Long, betting on the price to go up. You'll get an order confirmation pop-up window here so you can confirm the details are what you intended. And in my case, they certainly are. And once again, we can see that liquidation price down here at 43,334. So if this trade was to go against me and the price of Bitcoin fell from where it's currently trading at, which is at 64,903, and came all the way down and hit 43,334, I would lose all the collateral that I put into this position, which would be 41 tether. Remember, I'm set to 3x leverage. So to open this position size right here of 123 is only going to tie up 41 tether of my available collateral. And I would lose all of that if the price fell down and hit 43,334. Now you'll remember earlier, I mentioned that the more leverage that you use, the easier it is to get liquidated. And I want to quickly show you that before I open a position here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cancel this out by clicking on this X. Let's come back up here. I'm going to click on the leverage. And let's do something crazy. Let's go ahead and do 100x. We'll do that for short positions here too. I just want to show you how this works. So I'll click on OK. Now we'll come back over here. I'm going to click here on amount. I'll do 125 again. And I'll click right here on Open Long. And when we come over here to the order confirmation pop-up window, you'll notice a couple things here. First of all, you'll see the margin required to open this position dropped all the way down to $1.20 of tether. That's because I'm on 100x leverage. But you'll notice that the liquidation price came all the way up to 64,336, which isn't very far below where the asset's currently trading at 64,888. So Bitcoin doesn't have to fall very much in order to hit my liquidation price, and then I'd lose my collateral, which in this case would only be 1.2 tether. But if you're trading with larger amounts of money, that can get very risky very quickly. So again, I'm going to cancel this out. Let's come back up here. Let's get rid of this 100x, and I'll do something more civilized. We'll do 3x leverage, yes, just like this, and we'll click on OK. We got to keep the beginners safe around here. Too many people come flying in with 100x leverage, they get wiped out, and that's the end of that. Trading is a game of survival. You have to have proper risk management, bake your losses in, and let your winners run. It is a game of risk management. Unless you're just here to gamble, but if you want to trade, the idea is to survive, and 100x leverage isn't a good way to survive. Okay, so let's come back over here to the amount box. I'm going to go 125, and let's open this thing for real. So we're going to come down here, click on Open Long, confirm the details, looks great, okay. And just like that, I opened a long position at the best available price off of the order book. And you'll be able to see it on the chart. You can see it in this little box right here. That's my current open position, also represented by this green line, of course, right here. And you'll find more details of your order if you come down here. Make sure you're set to the positions tab. So if you're not, just give that a click. And down below, you'll see the details of your open position. You'll be able to see your unrealized P&L right here. So you can see I'm just absolutely crushing it right now. I'm up 0.01 USDT. I'll be buying a Lambo when I'm done making this video. And you'll be able to see your average entry price that you got right here. So in my case, my long order filled at 64,970. That was the best available price off the order book when I clicked that Open Long button. Now, if you would like to add a take profit as well as a stop loss to your position, you'll notice that you can get that done right over here. You can see position TPSL. Right below that, you can see this, it says TPSL. Let's go ahead and click on this little pencil icon like this. And you might get a little notice here that's letting you know when the market price hits your TPSL level, a market order for the set amount will be placed at the best available price. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, don't remind me again, I understand. And I'm just going to go ahead and close these two by saying got it. Then you'll get this pop-up window right here where you can set your take profit up in this box here and your stop loss down in this box right here. So let's go ahead and start with the take profit first. So if we look over here on the mid price of the order book, I can see Bitcoin's trading at approximately 64,900. For the sake of demonstration, let's imagine that I'm targeting 75,000. We're going to come over here to trigger price and I'm going to type that in like this, 75,000. Next, we need to choose how much of the trade we wish to close. I'll just use the slider bar right here and I'll go ahead and close 100% of this trade like this. Now down below right here, Weex is estimating approximately how much tether I would earn. If the price of Bitcoin was to rise and hit 75,000, I would earn 19 USDT, which is an ROI of approximately 46%. Looks good, so let's go ahead and do the stop loss now. Again, if I look at the mid price of the order book, I can see Bitcoin is currently trading at 64,958. Let's imagine, for the sake of demonstration, that I want to set my stop loss just below 64,000. We'll come down here to the trigger price box and let's go 63,900. Now we'll choose how much of the position I want to let go if my stop loss gets hit. I'll just use this slider bar and let's bring it all the way up to 100%, closing the entire position if this trade goes against me. Now Weex is estimating approximately how much I'm going to be losing, which in this case would be 2 tether if this trade goes against me, which is an ROI of approximately minus 4.94%. Looks fine for this demonstration, so I'm going to go ahead and click here on OK. And just like that, I set a take profit as well as a stop loss. If we come back to the chart, we can see that take profit in this box right here, also represented by this red line. And of course, just down below the entry there, we can see the other red box, which is showing the stop loss. So if Bitcoin continues its journey upwards, hits 75,000, this is going to trigger Weex to immediately sell my position at the best available price on the order book, and I'll be locking in my profit. If Bitcoin rejects and falls to the downside, hitting this red line at 63,900, Weex will be stopping me out in a small loss, whether I'm at my computer or fast asleep in the middle of the night. Now you can easily amend these as well by simply grabbing onto them. So for example, if I want to move the take profit, I'm going to hover my mouse over top of it, hold down left click, and as you can see, I can now move it. So let's move it right up to the top of that pivot there, something like this. I'll let go of left click, get a little reminder here. Yeah, it's cool. So I'm going to click on OK. And you can see that I just amended my take profit to the top side of this pivot right here at 82,313. You'll be able to see the price point on the y-axis of the chart there. Same for the stop loss. Let's imagine I want to take the stop loss somewhere down below this little pivot right here. I'm just going to go ahead and grab onto that with my mouse, hold down left click, and let's give it a little bit of clearance. Let's drag it down slightly below that like this. Let go of left click. It's cool. So I'm going to click on OK. And as you can see, I just dropped the stop loss down to 57,240. So that's how you can easily amend those. Now, if you want to see more details of your take profit and stop loss, just come down here. You'll see where it says open orders next to positions. Click on that. Then click right here on trigger. And here's where you'll see your trigger orders. So in my case, that would be a take profit right here and a stop loss right here. Now there's a couple ways to cancel these. If at any point you want to get rid of them, you can just come over here on the right hand side underneath action. You'll see a cancel button. So let's go ahead and cancel the take profit by clicking right here. And as you can see, I instantly removed that. Another way to do this is on the chart itself. So if we come up here to the chart, over to the stop loss box right here, you'll see a little X. If you click on that, as you can see, it immediately got rid of the stop loss. So those are the two ways you can quickly cancel your take profit and stop losses. Now, if you want to manually close your position, what we'll do is we'll come over here, we'll click on the positions tab. Then right down here, you'll find some close options. If you click on flash close, that's going to instantly close your position at the best available price off of the order book. If you click here on reverse, that's going to close your position, but open the same position, but in the other direction. So in my case here, if I clicked on reverse, that's going to close my long position where I'm betting on the price to go up, and it's instantly going to flip me into a short position, betting on the price to go down. Another way to do this is if you come up here to the chart and you can click on this little X inside this green box. So I'll go ahead and click that. And as you can see, that just flash closed the position at the best available price off of the order book. So that's how you can manually manage your position. Now I'll very quickly do one more demonstration, but this time I want to show you how you can add a take profit and stop loss before you even open your position. So what we're going to do is come back up here to the order panel, make sure we're set to open, make sure we're set to market, and now we need to choose our position size. I'll do the same thing. I'll go 125. This time, I'll open a short position betting on the price to go down. But before I do that, I'm going to click on this little box right here like this. Now, as you can see, we're going to get a drop down where we can add a take profit here and a stop loss down here. And if you were opening a long position, you just check this box right here. So just for fun, let's imagine that I want to set my stop loss just above this pivot right here. What I'll do is I'll come over here to the drawing tools. I'm going to grab a horizontal line. We'll come back to the chart. I'm going to mark a spot just above that wick, just for the sake of demonstration. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart that's correlating to that horizontal, coming in at 67,742. Let's imagine I want to use that price point as my stop loss. We'll come over here. We'll type that into this box. We'll go 67,742. Now I can see what my estimated loss is going to be if this trade goes against me. Now let's go ahead and do the take profit. And just for the sake of demonstration, let's imagine that I'm targeting the bottom side of this pivot right here. Again, I'll grab a horizontal here from the drawing tools. If you don't see yours, remember, just click on this little triangle, get a drop down, you'll find a horizontal line right here. Let's go ahead and mark a spot just below that pivot like this. Good enough for this demonstration. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming at 57,240. Let's imagine I want to use that price point as my take profit. We'll come up to this box right here and we'll type in 57,240. Now I can see what my estimated P&L is going to be if this trade goes favorably and the price of Bitcoin was to fall and hit 57,240. And of course, I see my estimated ROI, which would be plus 35.45%. Looks good. This order is set up the way that I intended, so I'm going to click here on open short, betting on the price to go down. Then we'll get our order confirmation pop-up window again, but you'll notice this time that a take profit is going to be added immediately where I specified at 57,240, and a stop loss will be added as well at 67,742. And I can see my liquidation price all the way up here at 86,417, but I'm not going to have to worry about that because I'm using proper risk management and put a stop loss at 67,000. So I'll be taken out of this trade long before I lose my collateral here, which would be about 41 tether if it did get liquidated. Looks good, so I'm going to click here on OK. And just like that, I opened that short position at the best available price off the order book. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and delete my horizontals here by clicking on that one, trash icon, and I'll do this one. See you later. And now we can see my open position in this red box right here, also represented by this red line. We can see my stop loss right here on this green line, and we can see my take profit right down here. So if Bitcoin just shoots up to the upside, hitting 87,742, I'll be stopped out of this trade in a small loss. But if Bitcoin does roll over and comes down here testing support, hitting 57,240, this trade will automatically be closed in a profit, whether I'm at the computer or fast asleep in the middle of the night. Again, you can amend those by grabbing onto them and moving them, or if you want to cancel them, just click on the X inside these boxes, like this, and we'll go ahead and get rid of the take profit. And of course, we can always close that position by clicking on this X, or we can come down to the positions tab. And if you want to close it with a flash close, you'll find that option right here. If I click on that, as you can see, it just instantly closed that trade at the best available price off the order book. Moving right along to limit orders. These order types give you the ability to be a bit more strategic by choosing a price point where you wish to place an order to open a long position, or a price point where you wish to place an order to open a short position. But you will need the price of the asset to reach your order price before your order is going to fill and execute your position. I'll also mention that usually you can save on fees by using limit orders as well, because you're placing your order onto the order book. So in other words, you're adding liquidity to the order book. And exchanges typically like to incentivize traders to add liquidity to their order book, and they'll normally do that by offering a smaller fee to use a limit order versus a market order. When you're using a market order, you're a market taker because you're pulling liquidity instantly off of the order book. So you usually pay a higher fee for the convenience of doing that. And I'll show you where to find the fees later in this tutorial. Okay, so let's move on with limit order here. So of course, the first thing we want to do is come up to our pairings and choose the asset that you wish to place an order for. Again, I'll just demonstrate with the almighty Bitcoin here, so I'm perfectly fine leaving this as it is. Next, we're going to come over here to the order panel. We'll make sure we're set to open, and we're going to click right here on limit. Now we've configured the order panel for limit orders. And I'll demonstrate with a long order first, betting on the price to go up. So the first thing I need to do is I need to choose a price point that I wish to place my long order at. So let's quickly head on over here to the chart. And for the purpose of demonstration, let's imagine that I'm bullish on Bitcoin, but maybe I think for whatever reason, it's going to pull back a little bit first, maybe find a bit of support before rocketing to the upside. Maybe I want to try to place a bit of a limit order somewhere down around this pivot right here. So what I'm going to do is come back over here to the drawing tools, grab myself a trusty old horizontal line. Let's come back over here. I'm going to mark this area just like this. We can see when we look left that a Weex stabbed that area right here. We can see some Weex stabbed it here as well. Price action drooped a little bit below that horizontal right there before moving to the upside. But what's interesting here is if Bitcoin did pull back and stuck in another low right there and moved to the upside, it would be a higher low as opposed to back here, which would be a bullish structure. If only I had a crystal ball. Anyway, let's go ahead and use that price point as the price that I wish to place my order to open a long position. And of course, I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart that's correlated to that horizontal at 60,459. So we're going to come up here to the cost box and we're going to type that in. So I'm going to get rid of this and let's do 60,459. Now I need to choose the size of the order I wish to place. Of course, we can always use our little slidey bar right here. But I'll just go ahead and keep things consistent. Let's do 125 tether, just like this. Now that I'm ready to place my long order, I'm going to come down here and click on Open Long. We're getting an order confirmation pop-up window here, so confirm the details are what you intended, and in my case, they are. I can see my order is going to be placed right here at 60,459. So I'm going to go ahead and click here on OK. Just like that, I stuck that limit order onto the order book. If we get rid of this horizontal, delete, we can see that limit order on the chart itself in this green box right here and represented by this green line. So very simply, if Bitcoin did roll over from here, coming down, hitting 60,459, this long order is going to fill and put me into a position. So from there, I'm looking for a bounce to the upside for this trade idea to be profitable. If Bitcoin was to come down, hit my line right here, fill my order, but then just fall through like a trap door into Goblin Town, I'm going to get wrecked. What I need is Bitcoin to come down, fill that order, and bounce to the upside. Now you can also amend these limit orders by just grabbing onto them. So if I grab onto it, left click, I can pull it down. Let's say I want to bring it down to here, let go of left click, okay. And you can see I just amended that limit order down to 58,687. So if Bitcoin retraces down to that price point, that order is going to fill. You can also see more details of your limit order if you come down here and click on the Open Orders tab like this. Then click right here on Limit. And here's where you'll see more details about your limit order. Now, if you want to add a take profit and stop loss to your limit order, just click right here on this little pencil. I understand. And now we can place a take profit and a stop loss right here. So I can look at the y-axis of the chart where that horizontal is. That's my current limit order at 58,687. And let's imagine that I want to target 75,000 way up here if the order down here gets filled. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to type that into TP trigger price, 75K, just like that. Of course, I can see my estimated P&L rate here and my estimated ROI, which would be 83.39%. Now let's do the stop loss, of course. Again, I can look at the y-axis. I can see my limit order at 58,687. For the purpose of demonstration, let's imagine I want to put my stop loss just below 58,000. Let's say 57,950. Now I can see what my estimated loss is going to be if that stop loss gets hit. Looks fine for this demonstration, so we'll click here on OK. And as you can see down here, we just added that take profit and stop loss. So now, if Bitcoin was to roll over and come down, fill my order, this take profit and stop loss will be added immediately. So if Bitcoin's a total turd and just keeps going to the downside, it's going to hit my stop loss at 57,950, closing me in a small loss versus absolutely nominating me as the mayor of wrecked city. However, if price action comes down, fills the order here at 58,687, bounces, now all's going well, coming up here, hitting 75,000, that's going to be closing it in a profit. Now, if we want to cancel that limit order, of course, we can come down here to open orders, click on limit order, then over here under action, we can click on cancel. That'll get the job done, but we can also come up to the chart, click on this little X inside of where it says limit, and just like that, I took that limit order off of the order book. Now that limit order was going to stay on the order book until it either filled or I manually canceled it. So if I left that order on the order book and Bitcoin just started ripping to the upside and I was missing out on the trade, I'd likely come back and just simply cancel the order, because at that point in time, it would be very much looking like I'm not going to get filled. Now, one more demonstration. This time, I'll show you a limit order to open a short position, but of course, I'll show you how you can set your take profit and stop loss while you're placing your order. So we're gonna come back here to the order panel. We'll click here on limit, and now we need to choose a price point that we wish to place an order to open short. So let's come back over here to the chart. And just for fun, let's imagine that I'm bearish on Bitcoin, but maybe I think Bitcoin's going to pop up a little bit more here before ultimately rolling over and moving down to Goblin Town. Let's imagine that I'm interested in this price action right here, just before this waterfall to the downside. Let's go ahead and mark that. So I'm going to grab a horizontal here from the drawing tools, and let's mark these wicks right here like this. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming at 72,544. Let's imagine that I want to place my limit order to open a short position at that price point. We'll come up here to the cost box and we'll type that in. 72,544. Now we'll choose the size of the position. Once again, I'll just do 125. So position size worth about 125 tether. And before I open this short position, betting on the price to go down, I'm going to click this little box right here. If you were doing a long position, you'd click this box over here. But of course, I'm going short. Now I can put a take profit into this box and a stop loss into this box. So back over to the chart. Let's imagine that I want to set my stop loss somewhere just above this stutter step on the market right there. Let's grab a horizontal, of course. Let's mark that out, make things easy on ourselves. I'll go just a little bit higher, something like this. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart at 78,838. And for the sake of demonstration, let's use that as the stop loss. We'll come over here to the stop loss box and we'll go 78,838. And of course, choose price points that make sense to you. I'm just demonstrating how the tool works. Make sure you do your proper risk management, technical analysis, and choose price points that make sense to you. Now let's go ahead and do the take profit. Back to the chart. Let's imagine I want to take profit somewhere down around the bottom of this pivot right here. Again, I'll come up here to the horizontal line, grab it. Let's mark that out like this. Now I can see a price point at 57,859 on the y-axis. We'll come over to the take profit box. We'll type that in. 57,859. Sweet. Now let's go ahead and open this short position. We'll click right here on open short. Confirm the details. As you can see, I'm going to be placing my order at 72,544 as intended. And if the price of Bitcoin comes up and hits 72,544, a take profit is going to be added here at 57,859, which is down here at this horizontal, and my stop loss will be added at 78,838. Looks awesome. So let's go ahead and click here on OK. And I just placed that order onto the order book. So let's go ahead and get rid of all these horizontal lines by deleting them like this. Actually, let's put that one back for a second. So in this case here, if Bitcoin comes up, hits this red line right here at 72,544, that's going to open my short position. If that short position opens, my stop loss will be added immediately at this line right here, and my take profit will be added immediately at this line right here. So for this trade idea to work, price action needs to come up, fill my order right here, roll over, coming all the way down here to 57,859. And if it does that, this position will be closed immediately in a profit. But if Bitcoin comes up, fills the order, pretends like it's going to go down, and suddenly it's like, no thanks, and goes to the upside, hitting 78,838, I will be taking a loss on my stop loss at that point in time. Again, if you want to see more details of your order, just come down here, make sure you click on the Open Orders tab, click on Limit. Here's where you'll see the details of your limit order. You can see right here, GTC, that stands for Good Till Canceled. So this order is going to stay on the order book until it either fills or I manually cancel it. And of course, if we want to cancel it, we can do that on the chart, or we can come over here under Action, click on Cancel. And just like that, I removed that limit order off of the order book. And of course, that canceled the take profit and stop loss as well. So as you can see, limit orders do give you the ability to be a bit more tactical about choosing price points you wish to place your orders at. And you can save a little bit on fees when you're using limit orders as well. But you do need the price of the asset to reach your order price before your trade will ever fill and execute. So something to keep in mind when using limit orders. Okay, let's talk a little bit about fees. We'll start with the funding rate first. So you can find your funding rate right up above your chart here. You can see right here, it says funding rate and countdown. And you'll notice at the time of making this video that Bitcoin itself has a positive funding rate of 0.009%, and the countdown timer has 57 minutes remaining. Now, if you see a positive funding rate, like we're looking at right now, this means that traders holding long positions will be paying this funding rate to traders holding short positions when the countdown timer reaches 0. If you ever see a negative funding rate, that means traders holding short positions will be paying that funding rate to traders holding long positions when the countdown timer reaches 0. If you close your position before the timer reaches 0, you won't have to pay the funding rate. Now, the funding rate is meant to try to keep the contract at parity with the spot underlying asset. Sometimes the perpetual contract can be worth more or less than the spot underlying, and the funding rate helps keep that in check. Now, sometimes you can get a really high funding rate when the perpetual contract begins to decouple from the spot underlying price. Now, when that happens, it can get very expensive to hold on to a position, often incentivizing traders to let go of their positions, especially if it's a really big one. So sometimes you'll see a really high funding rate at an inflection point on the market. Now for Bitcoin, this funding rate I would consider quite normal. And funding rates can vary wildly between assets, whatever it is that you're trading. So what I would recommend, if there's a particular altcoin you like to trade, or a tokenized stock, or a commodity, whatever it might be, try to do a little bit of research and discover what an abnormal funding rate would look like and what a normal funding rate would look like. That way you can pay attention to this. If it's a really high funding rate, it gets expensive to hold on to that position, but it can also be indicative that we're getting near an inflection point on the market as well. So something to pay attention to. Now for the trading fees. To find those, just come over here on the right hand side where it says VIP. If you hover your mouse over top of that, you'll be able to see your maker and taker. You'll be able to see it right here as well. So at VIP level 1, you can see that your maker fee is going to be 0.02%. Maker stands for limit orders because you're adding liquidity to the order book. And your taker order is higher than your maker order, just like I was explaining earlier. A taker fee is market orders when you're removing liquidity off the order book. And if you're at VIP level 1 like me, you'll be paying 0.075% on your taker fees. Now, if you come right up here and click where it says more, and on this page here, you'll be able to see what your Weex VIP perks are. So if you scroll down like this, you'll see the different VIP levels right here. You'll be able to see the fee discounts you'll be getting right here. and you'll be able to see your withdrawal amounts right here as well. So you can see at VIP level 1, you can actually do a 50,000 USDT withdrawal with an unverified account. So for me personally, it was worth it to be VIP level 1 at least, and in order to do that, I had to purchase 5,000 WXT tokens off of the spot market. Now, the WXT token is the native token for Weex, and it is a volatile asset. So the price of it can go up and the price of it can go down. So if you do choose to hold that asset on account in order to get some of these fee discounts, as well as these higher withdrawal limits, just keep in mind that that token is a volatile asset. If you want to buy it, you just come up here where it says spot, and you can see it comes up right at the top here. If you don't see it there, just search for it in the search bar, but let's go ahead and give that a click. That'll bring you over to this page right here. And as you can see at the time of making this video, that the Weex token is currently trading at 0.016 cents. So it's less than 2 cents per token. There's other perks if you do decide to hold it on account as well. If you come up here where it says promotion, you can see they have this thing called We Launch. If you give that a click, that'll bring you to this page right here, and you can commit your WXT for some free airdrops as well. You'll see the event details right here. So you can see there's one that's ongoing right now. You'll see some that are upcoming here and all the ones that have ended in the past. If you want to commit any of your WXT for an airdrop, you just click right here and join with WXT. Then you'd commit your WXT to the airdrop. I've already done that here. So you can see that my final weight is 12,964 WXT and my estimated reward right here is 0.185 edge. But hey, 0.185 edge is 0.185 edge. I'll take it. So anyways, there's other perks of holding it as well, but only you can decide because it is a risk asset. So the price of it can go up and it can go down. But if you want to buy some, you can save on fees and you can get some airdrops as well. And now that you're done with this tutorial, feel free to check out my other Weex tutorials, which I put together in a playlist on my YouTube channel, or check out one of these tutorials that are popping up now. Don't forget to leave me a like, hit subscribe for future content, and have yourself a powerful day.